Hello, fight fans. It is me, Alec Carr, sitting right next to my co-host Dustin. Welcome to another great episode of Fights Unwrapped. Dustin, it feels so good. I don't know about you. I feel good after a 2 week break. I'm itching. I got things to say. I was getting in spats on Twitter. Um, about fighting, about everything. I've been itching to get on the stream. I'm so excited to be here. Real quick, as we always do, I will do our plugs first. You guys can follow me at AlecTDCar on Twitter. And I welcome all the ats. I welcome all the Twitter beef. I love it. I thrive off of it. It is one of my most fun things to do is argue about sports. And if you've watched this show before, you know that Dustin and I love to argue about sports. And speaking of Dustin, you can follow him at No Censor Sports on Twitter. Also, make sure you follow Fights Unwrapped. We got fight announcements, retweeting headlines, all kinds of crazy stuff. And then we also will let you know when our shows are coming up and what you can look forward to us talking about. And then, as always, guys, please follow Unwrap Sports Network on Twitter. Like and subscribe to their YouTube channel. Unwrap Sports Network I'm a proud member, and I know Dustin is too. It's just so cool because you got guys from all over fuck the country. You got guys from all over the world. Monique's in Canada. We got people in Australia. We got people in New York. We got lots of people in LA, Texas, all over the place. So you get news and headlines and people's thoughts from real fans on the ground. It's super awesome, super unique. There's nothing like it out there. And going right into our going right into our sponsors. I couldn't think straight for a second, Dustin. Going right into our sponsors. Please, guys, Carlos Continent is a proud member of the RXM family. And we are too here at Unwrap Sports. So please check out rxhemp.com. And like I say every week, if you're getting old like me, but you still want to hold on to that, 20-year-old inside of you and feel like you can lift super, super heavy weights, you probably need RxHemp. So check out rxhemp.com for RxHemp and use RxHemp-USN to get 10% off your entire order. And guys, huge card this weekend. Little overrated card in my opinion, but big card. All eyes are going to be on this pay-per-view for sure. Please check out mybookie.ag to place all your bets. Use promo code USM100 for a 100% sign-up bonus. It's a crazy deal. You heard me right. It's 100% sign-up bonus. So if you're one of the few people who think Jorge Masvidal is going to pull this off as the underdog, go ahead and place a bet because you got a 100% sign-up bonus. All right, Dustin, we're going to get right into our headlines because we got a lot of them. Let's see. What do we want to talk about first? Dustin, do you want to go sad first or do you want to go happy first?
We can go sad first, I guess.
Let's go sad first then. All right, let's get it out of the way. I like those thoughts. All right, we're going to talk about Kane Velazquez. This has made national news at this point. It's not often that the UFC headlines make national news. Kane Velazquez, it was a very interesting story how it developed so slowly. Was arrested, I think, on Monday, Dustin. I think he was arrested on Monday. And all we knew at that time was that it was attempted murder. And anybody who knows anything about Kane Velazquez, like Dustin and I, were probably like, what? The fuck? That doesn't check. It's got to be. I know my first thoughts were, it's got to be a different Kane Velazquez. It can't be. This has got to be a mistake. It can't be Kane Velazquez from the UFC. It is, in fact, and then the story came out that maybe it was had something to do with a personal issue, and then it came out that that personal issue was a family member was being molested by somebody, and Kane Velazquez hunted him down and shot at him a bunch of times, hitting the man's stepfather. It's an absolute insane story. Everybody's giving their thoughts on it. I have lots of thoughts on this. Dustin, where is your head on this? I'm not going to ask you to justify it or de-justify it, but how did you feel when you saw this story break down so slowly over the week?
I feel for him. I feel for his rage. I mean, I feel for his emotion. I don't think he was thinking straight at that moment. Actually, from what I have heard, the guy actually got arrested and he got let out on bail. So basically, the guy who's got out on bail, I'm guessing his family paid it. He got out, and Kane Velazquez found out. And Kane Velazquez obviously knew them very well. Knew him very well. In order to find them like that, he probably knew him pretty well. And he was out of his head. And unfortunately, he hit somebody that he shouldn't have. Even if he hit the guy that he wanted to hit, and I think he did, it's just, I feel for him, man. I hope the judge takes in consideration of the motive. I mean, I hope that they understand that that's not his normal. It's not his normal character. But at the same time, Kane, you kind of went out of your head. I mean, you're a physical dude. You're a fighter. You could have beat the guy's ass. You could have beat him physically. You could have done something. Shooting, that was a little much, especially just by the law, not by the motive, but by the law. I mean, you know what's going to happen to you, man. You know what's going to happen in that situation. You hunted him down. You actually came after him and did that. Like, it wasn't like that's premeditated. Unfortunately, vigilantism is not exactly welcomed by the law. And it sucks. I mean, it sucks that he went through that. It sucks that he felt he needed to do that. I wish he would have thought a little bit differently. I mean, if you want to hurt the guy, whatever. But, the gun's going to get you in trouble every time. You probably could have got an assault charge. Probably could have got it waived. You probably could have got probation. But attempted murder, man, I don't think he's getting out of it. And I feel it's terrible. When I saw the news, my stomach dropped because I understand him. And it sucks, man. It sucks to watch.
Yeah, man. So just Dustin touched on a lot of the aspects. I'll go over some. We'll give more detail a little bit. So what happened was the man who was molesting his family member. I don't think there's rumors that it was his daughter, but nothing's been confirmed on that. So I'm not even going to bring that up. But the man who was arrested for that was not just let out on bail, was on. So the new thing is that it wasn't he was let out on bail. He was sentenced to home detention to keep 100 yards away from children under 14. Just goes to show what our criminal justice system really cares about in this country. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole different podcast. But let's just, I will say that the laws are heavily in favor of those who commit those kinds of crimes instead of the victims. Kane Velazquez found out. He hunted him. He quite literally turned into the Punisher. And I'm not saying that as a joke. I'm not saying that to be funny. He quite literally turned into the Punisher. He hunted this man down. And this is the newest information that has come out as Velazquez rammed his truck into the Silverado, which the victim, if you want to call that, was in. Fired multiple rounds with his registered 40 caliber handgun. A female passenger dialed 911 for help. And listen, I hope that they are lenient on him as well. He has even put a statement out through his attorney. Of course, he's in jail, so he can't talk in front of a camera. So when people are getting angry that he hasn't made a statement, the dude's in jail. Shut the fuck up. His attorney made a statement for him, pretty much saying that Velazquez is fully admitted to his crime. He knows what he did was wrong, but was acting out of rage, and is sorry that it was a little funny the way it was worded. I know this is not how it was meant, but this was a little funny. He's sorry that he hit the person that he hit. Not sorry that he shot at somebody. He's sorry that he hit the person that he hit, because the person that he hit was actually the target's stepfather. So, yeah, he's going to have no issues. They're saying minimum 20 years because the vigilante crimes and whatnot that he's going to be charged with. I don't think that's going to happen. The character witnesses that will come to that stand for him, just from the UFC alone, not including the WWE, and from when he was not fighting in major promotions, the entire UFC is already lined up behind Kane Velazquez.
Here's the problem with that. It doesn't matter. I mean, when you do a premeditated assault like that, the court of law is not going to take a bunch of character. I mean,
I'm not saying, Dustin. Let me finish what I was saying, and then you'll probably understand. He's going to jail. He's going to jail. He's not getting off. He is okay with going to jail, according to his attorney, and totally understands that he should go to jail. He's definitely going to jail. I don't think he's going to get 20 years. If he gets 20 years, he'll get. It could be one of those minimum 20 years with the ability of parole after 3. I like you. We got to move on because this is such a sad topic. But I do feel for the guy. I feel for the guy that was shot that didn't have anything to do with the initial crime. I feel for him that, in his eyes and in my eyes, that there is a convicted pedophile on the streets, essentially. So we're going to move on. We're going to pay attention to the story as it unfolds. I'm sure there's going to be some crazy twists and turns as it goes. So we'll probably talk about it for the next couple of weeks. But for right now, it's just absolutely insane. Let's get to something more fun, though. All right, Dustin. Let's talk about a good friend. Let's talk about our good friend, Conor McGregor. And Dustin and I were talking about this. What people don't know is that we do a little pre-chat to get ready for the show. And Dustin and I were talking about this man, Conor McGregor. So if you guys didn't see the news come out yesterday, what was it? What club? The Chelsea Football Club is
Chelsea.
Yeah, the Chelsea Football Club is being probably most likely put up for sale because of the owner, the Russian owner, and Russia, Ukraine is a thing that we're going to talk about today too. So he might be forced to sell. He's already put the wheels in motion, and Conor McGregor is tweeting conversations that he's having with the ownership group. It is a very realistic possibility that Conor McGregor puts together an owner. And he would have to put together an ownership group. He can't afford to buy it himself, but it puts together an ownership group to buy a football team. He's expressed interest before. He wanted to buy Man U when Man U went up for sale because that's his favorite team. Couldn't buy Man U because he couldn't afford it. This is something that very much could happen because this football club is going to be sold cheap and quick. And the reason I bring this up is not to talk about how rich and fancy. Yes, Conor does look good. He looks like he's in incredible shape right now. I don't want to talk about how rich Conor is. He's worth over $500 million. We all know this. If you've watched this show, you know that we know that Conor McGregor is a different animal in the fight world. Not just UFC, but also boxing. He's just rich. He's filthy, filthy rich. He's what we call, Dustin, wealthy. And this has always been a goal of his. He is on a goal to make $1 billion. That he's been very vocal about that. He wants to be the first fighter billionaire. And he's well on his way. And if he buys this football club, instantly a billionaire. So that's pretty cool. But the reason I bring this up is I want to throw this out there, that this is exactly why Conor McGregor doesn't give a shit about fighting anymore. And I want to stop this slander, Dustin, that is going against Conor McGregor's name. Like him or not. Listen, you can like him, you can hate him. He changed the game. He's the reason why ESPN bought the exclusive rights to the UFC. He's the reason why fighters are getting paid what they're getting paid. He is the reason why guys like Sugar Sean O'Malley do what Sugar Sean O'Malley do. Conor McGregor is on the Mount Rushmore of MMA. Whether you like him or you hate him, he's on there. So I'm personally, Dustin, sick and tired of the slanderous comments coming out against Conor McGregor that he's washed. He's old. He's not athletic anymore. He looks bad. Dustin, to me, it's like everybody forgot what actually happened in the last Dustin Poirier fight. I'm going to break this down for you, and I'm also going to throw this up because it's turning into my rant of the week. Dustin Poirier, the only reason Dustin Poirier got Conor on the ground in the first place, Conor was landing to start that round. Then Dustin rushed the takedown because he was getting hit. Conor thought he had the guillotine in and pulled guard. So the only reason Dustin was able to slam and smash, as Cosmo would say, the only reason he was able to smash his face was because Conor made a mistake. He was winning, and Conor made a mistake, and he pulled guard. Then Conor eventually gets up before the round's over, and Dustin, I don't know the last time you watched this fight was. Did Conor look hurt when he stood up, or did he immediately throw and land bombs before his leg broke in half?
He was. See, here's where my different opinion in my sight. I think he was breathing a lot harder. I think that he was a little bit more tired.
Sure.
Now, do I think that Dustin would have put him out in that round? No. I think Conor was fine. Here's my problem with Conor against Dustin. And what we've actually had this conversation. I've told you what's wrong with Conor McGregor right now. The fact that Conor McGregor sits in that boxing stance is his Achilles heel. He needs to go back to the wide Muay Thai stance. If he keeps fighting like a boxer, they're going to keep doing the same shit they do to him. He needs to widen the stance up. He needs to go back to that MMA style striking. You're not a boxer, dude. I know you fought Mayweather. I know you trained a lot in boxing, but that's not you. You need in boxing, do that. In MMA, widen the stance up. Do what you're good at. You're good at kicks. You're really fast. You can create separation with your feet because your kicks, they hurt, dude. Ask Donald Cerrone. I mean,
and throw that left hand.
And that left hand is nasty. This is the thing about Conor, and everybody keeps saying he's washed. You have to understand, dude, when you fight the top guys in the world constantly, dude, it's hard to stay on top. It's hard. Super, super hard, especially in a competitive division like lightweight. Like, dude, lightweight is not easy to stay the king of. Even Khabib, he retired after he defended the title like 3 times. He didn't keep going. It's really hard to keep that title, and everybody knows it. He didn't keep going after he beat Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. He didn't keep going. He could have. Oliveira would have came up. A lot of killers were coming up that matched up with him well. So we don't even know what Khabib would have done. We have no clue. Conor just stayed. He came out of retirement and stayed. The longer you're in this game, the easier it is to beat you. The longer you stay in this game, the more susceptible to get beat you are. Younger guys are coming. Savages are coming. Dude, it is what it is.
He also doesn't belong in the division. It just doesn't. He's not a light. As well as he fights at lightweight, he's not a lightweight. He should go down. He should absolutely go down. It's where he's best. I know it's not natural for him, and the weight cut hurts. And when you're worth $500 million, why cut weight? You know. But the thing that bothers me is I watched that last fight 2 nights ago. I did. I watched the Dustin Poirier fight versus Conor.
I remember it verbatim. I remember.
Oh my God, he stood up, Dustin, and literally landed a 3-punch combo that hurt Dustin Poirier. That shocked him. And then Conor's leg broke in half when he planted back. So it's honestly, I don't like Conor that much as a human being. I really don't, but I'm just tired of the slander. He's a great fighter still. He's only like 32 years old, man. Like this is absolutely insane. He's not washed. He's wealthy. And when you get hit when you're wealthy, not rich, when you get hit when you're wealthy, you tend to react differently. I think I almost want him to retire because I don't want him to ruin his reputation. But I think he's just a different animal. He's a different breed. Honestly, Dustin, if he stepped down to featherweight, he would annihilate that division. He'd knock them all out, every single one of them. And Brett Kavanaugh, his coach, is not good anymore. He's not good. He is not trying to correct Conor. He's letting Conor do whatever he wants, and that's a part of the problem too.
Let me reiterate something for everybody about Conor losing. First of all, there's something that I agree with Dana on, and it's something called dare to be great. If you think Izzy couldn't stay in 185 and just dominate that division his whole career, he probably can. But he dared to be great. Then he went up and fought a challenge. He just did. BJ Penn, you don't think if he stayed in 155 his whole career and never fought GSP that he wouldn't have dominated and not lost too much? Of course. GSP, did you see a GSP hopping up to 185? No. Do you see Usman hopping up to 185 to fight his buddy? Which I don't think they're that good of friends. I'm going to say that right now. I don't think they're good friends. I think that they have like a relation to their home country. I think they have that. That's not friends. I don't think they're friends. For the right money, they'd do it. I don't think Kamaru Usman is interested. I don't think a lot of these fighters are interested of daring to be great. I am okay with Conor losing simply because he always dares to be great. He hops up in weight. He goes to 170. He goes to 155. That takes balls. And a lot of these fighters don't want to do it. He could have just stayed at featherweight and fucked them up for the rest of his career and would have been on Mount Rushmore anyway. Made his money, talked the shit, and he could have left unscathed. That's a lot of people don't understand. Khabib didn't hop up in weight. They didn't fucking hop in weight and try it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when people keep saying that he go because he loses, bro, he's fighting people every 5 seconds that are amazing. Amazing.
Also, Dustin, he would have been the greatest. He would have been the greatest featherweight of all time. It wouldn't have been close. He would have.
Close.
It wouldn't have been close.
Aldo didn't lose for like 10 years. He knocked his ass out in 45 seconds.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, Dustin and I are both tired of the slander. I like to think that Monique would agree with us too. But you brought up real quick. You brought up the Khabib not going up. Have you seen him lately? How fucking big he is?
He's always been that big. Why do people not think this dude's huge?
Sorry, guys. Sorry, viewers, but we're going to take a sidebar here for a second. Did you see what Usman's reaction when Islam said, I think Khabib's going to come back as a welterweight? Usman got scared. He got scared so fast.
Hey, dude, Usman's like 36 years old. Everybody's got to remember that.
His eyes went wide, and he literally said on national TV, no.
Yeah,
he got so scared so quick. Oh boy! All right, we gotta move on. That was a nice change of pace there. We're gonna move on to Islam. Actually, I want to talk about him. So Dana White, there's a lot of stuff going on with Islam right now. A lot of stuff. right, Dustin? He wanted to fight. He couldn't fight. He wanted to fight this person. Couldn't fight that person. He wanted a championship fight. Couldn't get a championship fight. He was scheduled. Hold on. Give me a second. So Dana White said, "You're not. You have to fight Dariush. You have to.
He has to.
Yeah." And he wanted to Islam's credit, though. He tried to step up to fight RDA.
Yeah.
He did.
He did.
He did. And he didn't have to. That would be going backwards for him, actually. And he tried to do it. He really, really did.
That's for real. That's for real. That RDA fight would mean as much to me as this last one did. If he beat RDA, dude, I would not.
And honestly, people are giving Islam shit, and people are giving RDA shit. That fight was never going to happen. Neither of those guys wanted to do it. Islam probably wanted to because he's a fighter's fighter, but his management staff was like, "Dude, don't go backwards. It's not worth the risk."
What if you lose?
Right. What if you lose? And that's what your managers are there for, which I got to give them credit. What if you lose to RDA? Now you're dropping in the rankings and you don't get the Dariush fight, let alone a title fight. It would set your career back 5 years.
Way back, dude.
Yeah, so I don't give either of them. I mean, apparently Islam's team is the one that turned it down, not RDA's. Of course, RDA would want to fight because it would only put him into a higher tier level, even if he lost. It was a win-win for RDA. If he loses, I took a fight on 5 days' notice against the number 3 ranked contender. I can't blame him. The Islam versus Dariush fight, before we get to that, I want to get your thoughts because I know you have them on Islam getting a title fight. Do you think he should fight? You already said he has Dariush. Do you think he's ready for a title fight at this point?
Fuck no. Fuck no. A lot of people didn't understand, though. His last 2 opponents, dude, had like 14-day turnarounds in like a 35 to 40-day turnaround. They didn't even have full training camps. Like, I hands off to him, bro. He beat the shit out of both of them. Hands off to him. He should have. He had a full training camp. These guys over here had 30 days, 14 days. Dude, you were ready. You were ready to fight. You were in tip-top shape. You were completely ready to go. And I will give Islam credit. That boy is yoked. That boy is fucking yoked. I didn't think he was that big. I saw him this weekend. I was like, God damn, bro. He's a big cat. And I don't think he's ready because the same reason I'll say every fucking division, it doesn't matter if it's Islam, doesn't matter if it's anybody. You are going to fight. If I am Dana White, if you want a shot at my title in my organization, you are going to beat a legitimate top 5. If you can't do that, I will not see you on a main event. Just not going to happen. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. And unless you beat a top 5 guy, it's not happening. If he beats Dariush, fine. I'm the shit. I'll even take my hats off to him if he beats him. But giving him a title shot, no. And a lot of people don't understand. Remember that 9-fight winning streak or 10-fight winning streak he's on? Does anybody remember what happened before that 9-fight winning streak? Anybody remember? He got knocked the fuck out. He got knocked the fuck out. You should have saw Khabib's face. Khabib saw him get knocked out. He looked like he just lost his puppy. I swear to God. He looked at when Islam dropped like that. He was like, oh my God. It was the best feeling ever, by the way. That's the first time I've ever seen that look on his face. And it was pretty funny. But Islam got knocked the fuck out before he went on that streak. So that set him back anyway. And a lot of that streak was lower guys. He's beaten a few guys. Bobby Green did not belong in that octagon with Islam, in my opinion. I don't think he should have been there. And no, Islam should be a top 5 fighter. He should be fighting top 5 guys. I don't give a fuck if you win 13 fights in a row. If it's not against the fucking top 5 guy, you are not seeing the title. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. Not me. Not if I was Dana. It just wouldn't happen. I don't give a shit how much Khabib and Islam are crying. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. He was scheduled to fight Dariush a little bit ago. And I think Dariush had to pull out of that fight, if I remember correctly. That was the what am I talking about? That was the Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker took that fight on last notice.
No, Bobby Green filled in for Dariush. Dariush was the fight of this weekend.
Oh, right. That was the first RDA fight that got canceled. All right, so I agree with you. Listen, I've been a very vocal Islam believer. I have been. I think the guy's a fucking animal.
I believe in him too, but he's got to beat somebody, dude.
You got to beat somebody. This Bobby Green, I know Bobby Green was technically undefeated. I get it. I do. But can we stop acting like Bobby Green is this fucking not undefeated? I'm sorry. Bobby Green is a good fighter. But can we please stop acting like Bobby Green is this world beater? Where is this coming from? He's okay. He's a striker. He's just okay. Like, it's not a big win. And people thought Bobby Green would come in and beat Islam. Like,
no.
They had no chance. I don't know why people thought he had a chance. He had no chance. It was stupid. Islam, the fight should have just gotten pushed. But it's just ridiculous. And yes, he absolutely has to fight Dariush. There's no question about it. He has to fight Dariush because that's the fight that to be made in that division. You got two guys who Dariush, I could even argue, Dustin, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I could even argue that Dariush is way more tested than he is. We're talking about Beneil Dariush, who beat Tony Ferguson, Diego Ferreira, and is on an absolute tear as well. This is the fight that needs to happen. This is the number one contender fight, in my opinion. I don't know about you, but I just don't give a shit about Justin Gaethje, and Dustin Poirier is probably gonna retire before he fights again. So yes. He has to fight him. He just absolutely has to fight him. So moving on, speaking of one, Justin Gaethje, let's talk about him real quick because Justin Gaethje made headlines, and this will be a fun one to talk about. Justin Gaethje made headlines a little bit ago, yesterday actually, because he was offering to pay somebody a grand total of a huge amount of money of $500 to do a custom artwork design for his shorts that he won't even be able to wear on national TV in his next fight. It just goes on with the trend for me of Justin Gaethje doing things to try to seem like the nice, cool guy, the every man's fighter, when he's just not. He's just not. He is a huge douche. He's a skeeve ball. He's overrated, and he needs to just stop doing stuff like this. There were even comments, because he announced it on Twitter. Dustin, there were comments on Twitter going, why would I spend 4 hours, 5 hours of work to give $500? Like that. And then one of the funniest one was that somebody was like, oh, cool. So $500 minus the 3% that Venmo takes. Thanks, Justin Gaethje. Like, oh my God, it's just I don't know why this irked me so much, but it was like the most Justin Gaethje thing to do, to offer a little bit a non, like, if he came out, it was like, dude, $1,500, $2,000, you design my shorts, no matter what, if I can wear them or not, I'm gonna give you $2,000. This guy's a millionaire. $2,000 for him. Listen, fighter pay sucks. It sucks. But Justin Gaethje is one of the best fighters in the world, and he's a millionaire. $2,000 for him is fucking nothing. It's nothing. $500 is like a quarter for you and me. Just offer more money, dude. Offer more money. Make it a fucking contest. Like, have fun with it. Don't just be this lazy Justin Gaethje bullshit. Dustin, what do you think about this? What do you think about Justin Gaethje doing this? And I also want to talk about just what do you think about Justin Gaethje, because he's also foreseeably being passed up. So what do you think about Justin?
Well, first of all, when it comes to Justin, Alec, when you don't like somebody, you really don't like somebody. I'll tell you what. I'm not gonna lie. I love that about you. You don't like a motherfucker. You just don't like a motherfucker. That's just, you don't like nothing they do. Honestly, dude, if I didn't like somebody, I'd want you on my team, because you don't give a fuck of nothing they do.
I'm from Philly, man. That's how we roll here.
Justin G could go to the hospital and try to save cancer, and Alec could be like, he's a fucking douche. I'll tell you what, I know you. You do it. Anyway, fuck. I'll go ahead with what I think about it. First of all, for an independent designer, some nobody, $500 for just putting up a design. I mean, for an independent guy, I'm not talking big guys, because $500 I wouldn't even sniff at. But for an independent guy just trying to get up in the rankings or whatever, get his face out, I could see a designer taking $500. But here's my thing about it. Why did you even say that? Like, Venom owns the sponsorship, dude. It's done. You're not wearing anything Venom. If you really wanted American flag shorts, I'm sure Venom would have compensated you. I'm sure that they have a whole team of these assholes. They would make you an American flag shirt. They have Brazilians. Brazilians wear yellow and green. They're totally cool with that. Dude, if you wanted the design, go to Venom. Because Venom is not going to let you walk into the UFC arena with somebody else's gear when they probably paid for the right to get there. They paid for it. And Venom is a huge company. Bro, they could do whatever you want. They might even pay you extra for wearing some dope shit that was special order. They might. There's no way Venom was going to approve some nobody designing that shit.
This is my issue, and I'll just real quick. Here's my issue with that. Justin was never going to pick anybody, so he was never going to pay anybody $500. He was never, ever going to pick anybody to pay, and everybody knew it. It was just a lie. Anyway, continue.
So here's my other thing about Justin G as a person. I think he's like that all-American kid in high school. It is what it is. It's not negative. Like, it's not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying he is an all-American popular kid. It is what it is. He thinks he's up there, which is fine. You need to think that. You need to think that at that level of fighting, you need to think you're the shit. He thinks he's the shit. I don't see him as being a douchebag. I see him as trying to market things that he can't market. I don't think that's his real personality. I think Justin G is a nice guy. I think the reason you get cringe when he tries this shit is because it's not natural for him. I don't think it's natural. I really think he's a good dude. I don't think he's a bad guy. When good dudes try to be bad guys, it looks cringy as fuck. You look like you're out of your element. You look like that's not where you're supposed to be. I don't think he's a bad dude.
LeBron James.
So therefore, you can't be a villain when you're a hero. You can't. Superman just can't walk out and be like, man, fuck all y'all. I'm just going to rip up this entire world. That's not going to happen because that's not who he is. And if he tried to do that, it'd look weird, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just, when you're a hero, accept being a hero. When you're a good guy, accept being a good guy. And stop the bullshit. Like when he tried to start fake beef with Michael Chandler. That's when I thought he was a douchebag. I was like, bro, you're starting a beef that's not real. Like Michael Chandler looks like the top frat guy ever, and he is smiling at you and respecting you and doing all this shit. And you know he's a savage too. Michael Chandler's a savage. He could easily talk shit. But he looked at Justin. He was like, bro, I ain't got no problem with you. Why are you coming at me, bro? He's like, I don't understand what you don't like about me. He's like, I didn't fucking do nothing to you. We're cool. Why are you talking to me like that on national television? I think that he's overselling himself the way he doesn't have to. He's actually an entertaining fighter. He's really good at stand up. He's a warrior. He likes that, exchange. He likes getting beat up a little bit. Everybody loves that shit. Ask Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz looks like he just got out of a 7-person jumping every time he walks out of a fight. Everybody likes it. Serious. Nate Diaz can't win a fight to save his fucking life, but he looks like someone hit him in his face with a pole every time he walks out, and everybody just likes that shit. Everybody just likes it. I don't know. I don't like it, though. I think Nate Diaz needs to fucking somewhere, but Justin Gaethje is a great fighter. Stop selling the shit.
And the other thing is with Justin, too, is he almost got passed up for a championship fight. And we'll save this for another week because we do have to move on. I just don't think he's good enough. I think he's going to get he got the fight offer. They signed the paperwork, and he is Du Bronx's next victim, apparently. So we'll see that happen. We'll talk about that fight as it comes up. But we're moving on because we do have a big topic to talk about. And we'll be quick with it. We're not going to get into all the details because it is a political topic, and we try to stay away from that, even though we are not afraid to tackle the hard issues. But we have to talk about this because it is very, very impactful in the UFC, and we're going to see what happens. As of right now, Dustin, Dana White stated that he is trying to get all of his fighters out of Russia as quickly as possible to put them up in hotel rooms so that they starting with the people who are scheduled to fight, one being Volkov because he's scheduled to fight soon. He wants to get and the next is Petr Yan. He wants to get these guys out of Russia, mainly for money reasons. He's trying to phrase it as it's the right thing to do. But he's doing it because he wants to get paid, and I don't blame him. Those are two big fights that he needs to happen, and he can't just not happen. Petr Yan is apparently working with him on getting out of Russia, whereas Volkov does not want to leave. So this is going to be a continuing story. There's going to be updates that we have on this, maybe not weekly, but as this Russia-Ukraine, I don't want to call it an incident. Let's call it a Russia-Ukraine fuckery because that's what it is. It's fucked up what's happening. But again, we're not going to get too far into it. But as long as this continues, it's going to affect the sport that we love. It's going to affect all combat sports. I hope that Dana can convince some of these Russian fighters to get out of Russia so that we can watch some of the fighters because I fucking love watching Volkov, and Petr Yan is, on his way to being the greatest in that division of all time. So, we need to watch him kick Aljo's ass, Dustin. We need to watch it. So I really hope that these Russian fighters start working with him. What Dana said, luckily a lot of the fighters that are scheduled to fight are already out of Russia. It's just a couple that aren't. So. We'll see what happens with this, Dustin. What do you feel? How do you feel about this? Not really as far as the actual fuckery that's going on over there, but as it affects the UFC.
If we're going to talk about how I think it affects fighters, I'm not even going to just talk about fighters. I'm going to talk about Russian athletes in general. I feel terrible to the core for those guys because their country did something that the rest of the world is not hip to. And I'm going to tell you right now, if these Russian athletes think this is going to end, it's not. Russia just did something that, bro, this is going to go on for a decade. Like Russia's not going to be very friendly. It's just not going to happen. I'm praying for them. I really hope they make a good decision and get out of there. But it's hard, their family lives there and stuff like that. And I understand why these guys don't want to leave. I mean, do you want to leave the United States if we got into a war? If your job was like, hey, dude, you can't stay there. We wouldn't want to. I feel really bad. I feel horrible. It's not just fighters. It's the soccer stars. It's NHL. NHL, dude. These guys are about to get fucked. These Russian fighters, Volkov, all them, I understand you don't want to leave, but if you want to make a good financial decision for yourself, you better get out. Peter Yan, you better get out. Russian boxers, you better get out. It is what it is. Don't stay there. I'm telling you, because you're not coming to America, dude. You're not. You're not going to travel from Russia to America. It's not going to happen. And anywhere else in Western civilization, it's not going to happen. No one's going to let it happen. And it's really sad. It's really sad because there's a lot of talent. I was hoping for Islam that he was going to take too much shit. His last fight. I was really hoping people would treat him correctly because it's not his fault. And I was hoping these guys wouldn't get treated bad because it's not their fault, man. I mean, goddamn, they don't make decisions, dude.
Yeah, and it's just to interrupt you real quick. It's really like, listen, if one of the fighters comes out and is like, I support Vladimir Putin, yeah, go ahead and crush that fucker. But none of them have so far. And the other thing is, not even their own military, while they were the military personnel that was on their way to Chernobyl had no idea what they were doing. They didn't know they were about to get in a war. That's how, like, this was not like the entire Russian populace didn't know that this was about to happen. Okay. It's going to be difficult because Dana's going to struggle because he has to go through government agencies. And if he can't go through government agencies, Dustin, he's going to have to sneak people out of the country.
He's not going to do that. That is.
I would. For his bottom dollar, I think he would. Dana. What Dana cares about the most is making money.
See, here's my thing. Here's my thing about that. There's only a few ways you can sneak him out. You have to go through a Russian airspace, dude. If you are American and you go through that Russian airspace right now, good luck. Like,
there's other ways to do it. It's happened before in conflicts like this. Unfortunately, this is not the first time this has happened for athletes. So it has happened. It happened in Germany. It happened all over the place. It's happened in China where athletes have been snuck out of the country by car, by foot. Well, real quick, before we move on to the fights, I do want to take a second and just say I really do hope this situation ends. To be all seriousness, take athletes out of it. I hope this situation ends. It ends quickly. And my prayers and thoughts go out to the Ukrainian people. I don't want to just make this about sports and say poor athletes because they're still millionaires and there's a lot of people in Ukraine getting hurt and killed. So I do want to say that. But we are moving on to fun things again. We got a fight card, Dustin. We got, in my opinion, the most overrated pay-per-view this year. I hate it. I hate it. We'll talk about it when we get to the main event. And we're going to kind of skip through a lot of this because the main event is what everybody cares about, okay? But to start this off, let me pull this up. We get to talk about our dear, hated friend Greg Hardy versus Sergey Spivak. Greg Hardy is coming off a loss to Dwayne Lewis and no impressive wins whatsoever. Sergey Spivak is just lost to Tom Aspinall, has beat Oleinik, is probably the better fighter and is probably going to win this fight. And hopefully we get to see Greg Hardy get kicked out of the UFC. Dustin, what do you think about this? Is this Greg Hardy's last chance?
I don't even know why he's on a main card. I believe he's on the main card. And I don't see why. I don't know any fighters that lose like he has and gets main card spots, unless that last one. Okay? The Israel Adesanya fucking card, that was stupid. We already talked about that. I think it was just the first PPV of the year, and they had problems. This one is kind of stupid. Greg Hardy should not be on a main card. A guy fighting for his career should not be on the main card. He should have been on undercard. I think Dana's trying to sell this guy, and it's not going to happen, dude. He's not going to make it to the top of the heavyweight division. If he grasps his way through the division and kind of just floats around the UFC, I think that's the peak for Greg Hardy. I don't think he's skilled enough to fight guys, even like Volkov, even like guys, and he's definitely not skilled enough to fight, Gane. He's definitely not skilled, and he's not going to beat Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is going to bend the dude over. And then you got the champ. You got Francis Ngannou. I mean, dude, there's too many. Rosenstrike, Curtis Blades, dude. He's not getting anywhere in the UFC and the heavyweight division. It's just not going to happen. This is his last chance. If he gets his ass knocked out, I think he's done. To be honest.
Yeah, me too. I he belongs on a Vegas card. He doesn't belong on a PPV. That's why this card is kind of the most overrated pay-per-view card that I've seen in a long time. Because especially since Umar Nurmagomedov is on this card on the prelim. Why? He's 13-0.
And he's a Nurmagomedov.
He's his cousin. He's Khabib's cousin, if I remember correctly. So, it's just crazy. You would have Khabib. He's gonna be at the fights. He does this. He's the corner guy. So, why wouldn't you have Khabib's face postered all over the pay-per-view? I don't know. Anyway, we're moving on from this stupid fight. Hopefully, we never have to mention Greg Hardy's name again after this fight because Spivak just goes in there and gets the job done. All right, moving on to the next fight. We got Kevin Holland versus the other cowboy, Alex Oliveira. Dustin, I'm going to let you talk about this first because I have things to say.
Hold on, repeat that. Who was? It's not in front of me, so the card's not in front of me. So what did you say?
It is Kevin Holland versus Alex Oliveira.
I hope someone just beats the shit out of Kevin Holland because I'm tired of the kid. I'm good. I used to be a fan of him, but his lack of self-awareness is ridiculous. His lack of conviction for getting his ass beat is ridiculous. No real championship fighter is going to think like that. But he jokes around when he's getting his ass kicked. I don't know any human being on the planet Earth that jokes around after getting beat up. You know what I'm saying? I don't joke around after I get hit like that. Man, I'm mad as hell. I'm over here looking, this dude just beat the shit out of me. Come on, bro. Who jokes about that? Who laughs about that? I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I think that he takes this as a game. And I was like, you know what, dude? If you have another job that, you feel comfortable with not fighting the rest of your life, fine, dude. Act like a clown. But if you're going to sit here and say that and laugh and say you're trying to get better when you obviously aren't, dude. You obviously aren't because you're still getting taken down like a 5-year-old. And you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Travis Lutter. And Travis Lutter is no joke, dude, on the ground. Travis Lutter is a really, really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist. How the fuck are you getting your ass beat like that on the ground when you got that guy? That makes no sense. He's not taking this shit serious.
How can't you get back up?
He's gonna get hurt. Someone's gonna hurt him, dude.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna fucking.
And this fight, Dustin, you took the words right out of my mouth. Now, I'm not as sick of him as you are because when he's winning, he is a very entertaining fighter. But when he's losing, he is very boring because he tries to act like he's still winning when he's losing, which is just awful. But he better fucking win this fight. He really better because for people who forgot who Alex Oliveira was, he was at one point one of the best in the UFC. He really was. Now, we're talking about back in 2011 to 2015. He was one of the best. He was great. He was in constant contention for the belt. The guy was absolutely incredible. He is now 34 years old, and the last guy he beat was Peter Sabata in 2020. Kevin Holland, you better win this fight, man. You better win this fight. Get people back on your side because you're, like Dustin just said, you're losing them. You're losing them. All right, we're moving on to the next fight. We got Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell. I don't really know how to feel about this. This is again one of those fights that just screams, why is this fight on a pay-per-view? Why is it on a pay-per-view? I know Bryce Mitchell's on an absolute tear right now. Since getting into the UFC, he beat Bobby Moffitt, Matt Sales, Charles Rosa, Andre Fili, and his biggest fight will be Edson Barboza. And Edson Barboza, listen, he's really good. He's in the featherweight division now. Bryce Mitchell, you got to win this fight. You got to win this fight. If you're as good as people say, you're going to win this fight. I'm rooting for Edson Barboza, and you know why? Bryce Mitchell is a little too crazy for me. He's got some opinions that I am not a big fan of, but he's absolutely incredible in the octagon. I think he wins this fight. I think he gets it done pretty easily. It pains me to say because Edson Barboza used to train Philly adjacent right over the bridge in Camden, New Jersey. So we have adopted Edson Barboza into the Philadelphia culture here. And he loves it here. He comes back to Philadelphia all the time. So it's going to make me really sad, but I think Bryce Mitchell gets this done, and I think he gets it done rather quick. I don't see this going to the decision. Bryce Mitchell should absolutely annihilate him. Dustin, what do you think?
Edson Barboza is the reason it's on a main event. I mean, not main event, but main card. Because if you speak the name Edson Barboza, I mean, dude, you're speaking a tough guy that's entertaining. It is what it is. Dangerous kicks. Guy can flash. I mean, he's a dangerous guy. He's good all the way around. Holy shit. We'll talk about that later. I just got a fucking notification on my phone that's very important today. Anyway, Bryce Mitchell's a young guy. I mean, he's one of those trying to explode, dude. He's trying to explode.
Yeah. All right, we are moving on. So we're both picking Bryce Mitchell there. We both agree. Next fight we got the co-main. We got Rda and Renato Moicano. I can never say his name. I'm sorry. This was supposed to be. Come on, give me a second. This was supposed to be Fiziev. So I am no longer excited for this fight. I love Rda too. I love him, Dustin. I absolutely love Rda. And I love watching him fight, but I am not excited to watch him whoop Renato's ass. I mean, that's what's going to happen, in my opinion. I think Rda is going to come in there and look exactly like he did the last time we saw him against Paul Felder. He looked like the Rda that should have never gone up in weight class. He should have just stayed in his weight. He had no business going up. He should have just stayed where he was. He should never have gone up to 170. It was too much weight for him to put on. And then he comes back down, and he looks at the age of 36 when he fought Paul Felder. Looked absolutely fucking incredible. Granted, Paul Felder took that fight on literally 48 hours notice, I think. But still, Rda looked like a monster. So real quick, I'm definitely picking Rda in this fight. But there was some intrigue with this fight elsewhere because Paul Felder even offered to come out of retirement for this fight. Islam wanted to do this fight. There were guys coming out all over. If it wasn't Renato, who would you rather? Of all the guys that offered their services, who would you love to see fight him?
Islam. Be real. Because I think Rda is a strong dude. He's not bad on the ground. It's a pretty good matchup. I think that this is what the fucked up thing about Islam is. He is a really good striker. I wish he would stop trying to be Khabib. I wish he would just knock somebody the fuck out. I wish that he would wait. Honestly, I wish he would do what Khabib did. Like wait until you're getting in trouble on the feet, and then be elite on the ground. I wish he'd do that. I wish he'd stand up a little bit. I think that this Rda fight would have tested him greatly. I don't think that it would have helped his career, but I think it would have put him in the waters because RDA, I think, is better than Bobby Green. I'll tell you that. Better than fucking Bobby Green. You think you're going to get RDA in a full mount and keep him there? No, not going to happen. For anybody who doesn't know, full mount is a very hard position to keep.
It's the hardest position to keep in MMA.
Because like the way physics works, if your spine gets aligned one time with the guy that you're over, they can flip you. And they can flip you. And even if your spine's not aligned, they can roll over, they can twist and turn, and it's really hard to keep unless you're beating the shit out of them. And they can't move. That's about it. But RDA wouldn't succumb like Bobby Green did. He's had a full camp. He's ready to fight. I would love to see Islam taking that fight. Islam didn't take any damage. Didn't get hit one time. He's in shape still.
No, he's not. He wanted it at 170. That's why it didn't happen.
Oh, that's because he's a big motherfucker, just like his boy Khabib, and they fucking cut like shit. And Islam is huge. Anybody doesn't think Islam is huge? Look at that dude, man. Look at his chest. Look at his arms, dude. Like, come on, bro. He's way more than 155. I'll tell you that right now. The dude's probably sitting at 190. He's huge. So therefore,
I would have rather, to be honest with you, and I'm not being biased at all here, Dustin. I'm not being biased at all here, Dustin. I would have loved to see fucking Paul Felder come out of retirement. He's in shape. He's training for another marathon, just like the last time he was for this fight. Get Paul Felder out of the booth and get him back into the octagon where he belongs. Oh my God, I got so excited when I saw him tweet out, "Put me in there, Dana." I would have loved it. I would have loved it, man. But he would have gotten his ass whooped. He hasn't trained fighting. He hasn't trained for fighting since he retired. He's been running triathlons and marathons, and he's in the booth every other fight. So it would not have been good for him. It would have been fun. I would have been so excited to watch this card if Paul Felder was in it instead of Renato, because no one gives a shit about Renato.
Felder is not ready to fucking fight.
No, he needs a year to get ready to fight. He's ready to run a triathlon.
Who gives a shit? A triathlon, dude. Getting punched in the face affects your running a lot more than running.
He's from Philly, dude. He doesn't need it. He's from Philly.
Look, Alec. Let's just pretend you're a runner. Let's pretend you're a runner, right? Okay, so we're gonna pretend you're a runner. You're not, but let's pretend you are. Okay, you're trying to run a little triathlon. No one's hit you yet. You're just cool. Okay, Alec, let me come out of the woods, Superman punch you, and then see if you can run 15 miles.
I said it would have been bad for him. But it would have been better for the UFC if Paul Felder was in this fight.
That's true, because people would watch it, but Paul Felder was going to get his ass beat. Just like the first time.
It would have been very bad. It would not have been the first fight. It would have been very, very bad.
Beat the shit out of him. Beat the dog.
And also the UFC is not willing to lose him from the booth because, to be quite honest with you, Dustin, Paul Felder is the best commentator the UFC has. It's not even close.
Whoa, Joe Rogan.
Besides Joe Rogan.
Okay.
I'm not including Joe Rogan, especially since he's taken steps back and he's not doing it as often as he used to.
I was like, don't. No one's above Joe Rogan. Not
Paul Felder. Joe Rogan is the John Madden of the MMA. He just is. He's the John Madden of MMA. He's even a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Joe Rogan is a scary motherfucker. Anyway, we're not going to talk about Joe Rogan, even though we could do a whole fucking stream on that nut job. Who I love, by the way. I mean that in a term of endearment. We got a main event, Dustin.
Can we sidetrack? Because I'm so tired of Bisping being on that goddamn table. He is so stupid. He's so stupid. Like, he got hit way too many goddamn times.
We'll talk about it. Let's talk. We'll put it up for next week, I promise, because I could rant about Michael Bisping. But we got to talk about the main event. This manufactured bullshit, Dustin, that is driving me crazy watching the previews of the fight. We got the main event versus Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal, which is going to be a fucking hell of a fight. Just is. It is. Poirier, it's going to be a great fight. But they didn't need to manufacture this bullshit that's going on, that they hate each other. And now, granted, they probably don't like each other, but they're saying it's a grudge match. They're rivals. They hate each other so much. Jorge Masvidal says he's going to smash his face in so he can't fight ever again. He won't be able to see after this fight. Like, I don't care. This is not a title fight. This is a Vegas card, Dustin. This is a Vegas card. They made this fight for no reason. No reason whatsoever. I hate it. I don't know about you, but I'm picking Colby Covington because he's a more well-rounded fighter, and if he gets into trouble, he's going to take him down. Jorge Masvidal, in my opinion, does stand a chance, and like I said, it's going to be a hell of a fight because Colby's going to try to stand with him and try to be the tough guy, and he's going to get hit. And if Masvidal hits him clean, he could go to sleep. He could. Masvidal has that kind of power still. Masvidal could put him to sleep. Now, the reason I'm really pissed off about this fight, Dustin, is because Jorge Masvidal has become one of the most overrated fighters in UFC history. He is because of a knee. Because of a knee to Ben Askren, that guy hate national news. I saw it on CNN, Dustin. He made it on CNN. Because of a knee, he has become this prop up in the welterweight division. He's not as good as everybody says he is. He is a fucking strong puncher, don't get me wrong. But if this fight goes to the ground, he's done. He's cooked, in my opinion. Dustin, what do you think about this? What do you feel? How do you feel about this being the main event on a pay-per-view? What are your thoughts on this fight?
I'm going to address something real quick about him potentially knocking Covington out. Do you think that Masvidal has a bigger right hand than Usman?
I think Masvidal is willing to throw 100% power, whereas Usman is more tactical and doesn't throw power with his big punches.
But you also got to understand, okay, when we talk about, first of all, that right hand he landed on Masvidal, I've never seen a man get fucking punched like that.
It was one of the cleanest shots we've said is one of the cleanest shots in MMA history.
Covington took a clean right hand from Usman. Took it. Did he get knocked over a little bit? Did he get knocked over? Yeah, but he had heart and he got back up. Like, dude, he was not knocked out. He got back up. Here's the thing. Jorge is nowhere close to the athlete that Covington is. Nowhere near close. He doesn't have the gas tank like that Covington does. Honestly, I think Covington is highly underrated on the feet. I think that guy is still a good puncher. I don't think he doesn't have a knockout power punch. I won't say that. He's like a Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping had hands. He just couldn't knock motherfuckers out other than Luke Rockhold. No one gives a fuck about Luke Rockhold, okay? So we're just going to fucking keep going on. So let's be honest. Jorge Masvidal's only chance is if he barrages Colby Covington with punches. That's it. And Colby Covington, I don't think is going to allow that shit. He didn't allow Usman to do it. And Usman tried. Usman got in the pocket and tried to swing on him, dude. He was trying. And Colby Covington stood the test of time, and he gave it back. And I think, honestly, Usman's a more technical striker than Jorge. I think he's a better striker. I think he hits harder. So, therefore, I also want to talk about Jorge Masvidal's power. I think that's a little bit overrated myself. I don't think he's a Mike Tyson type guy. I don't think he's I'm going to swing this right hand and knock you out type guy. That's not. Did he knock out Darren Till? Sure. But Darren Till probably was fucking drinking with his friends the night before. I guarantee it. So let's be honest here. I think he's overrated just like you do. I don't think that he's that great of a fighter. I don't think that he punches like people say he punches. I don't. I really don't. I've seen him knock out some cats. He landed a perfect knee to Ben Askren's face. I'm sorry, dude. If I ran across the fucking octagon and he tried to take me down and I landed a flying knee and I'm not in shape. I mean, I'm heavier than him, so the knee probably would have hurt more because I'm like, fuck, I weigh him by like 80 pounds. But other than that, if anybody lands that shot, game over. I don't give a fuck who you are. Great knee, great shot. Ben Askren's an idiot. He should have never got hit with that. He shot for a.
He should have never been in the UFC, but that's a different discussion.
He shot as good as a wrestler as Ben Askren is. He shot a takedown at the knee area. Who does that? That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen.
Before any strike thrown.
It shouldn't happen. Any wrestler knows that you probably shouldn't open up a fight with a shot. You never do because they're full of energy. They have all their energy in the first round. You have to wait. You have to kind of feel them out a little bit. I'm telling you right now that Jorge sucks. I think Jorge sucks. I don't think he's that good. He got title fights off opening his fucking mouth. And that's about it. I think he's a step over Nate Diaz. I think he's a step over Nate Diaz.
I agree with that. But that's where I'll stop you. Jorge Masvidal is 35-15. He doesn't suck.
He doesn't suck. Okay, he's not
been in the UFC forever too, so he's always fought. He's always fighting ranked competition since he got into the UFC.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you that Jorge Masvidal sucks. Like you say, like Bellator fighters suck. That's what I'm saying.
Jorge Masvidal would be fucking great in Bellator.
Yeah, that's where he fits in, according to Alec, in my opinion. That's where he fits in. So therefore,
he would run house in Bellator, man. He really would. Colby Covington is absolutely
Let me talk about the fake beef. First of all, I believe Jorge. Jorge is always respectful to people that he has no beef with. He's never not fornicated, but he's never fabricated. He's never fabricated a beef. If he liked you, if he genuinely was okay with you, he'd have a problem with you. If there's anybody he couldn't like, it was Nate Diaz. He could have not liked Nate Diaz, but Nate Diaz, honestly, he was open and respectful. He was respectful to Usman. To be honest, he talked a little shit, dude, but he wasn't disrespectful. Jorge punched Leon Edwards in his face for getting an attitude while he was in an interview. I do not believe he fabricated that beef.
That's fine. I want to move because we're running out of time. We're over time. I do want to talk about this real quick, though. This fight should not be Jorge Masvidal. We both agree on that. Just shouldn't be. Colby Covington, you have not had a real fight other than getting rocked by Usman in a long time. I am sick and tired of you dodging other fighters and you being able to take money fights because of your persona.
Who did he dodge, though? Hold on. Who are you talking about, though?
He said he wouldn't fight Leon Edwards because Leon Edwards isn't good enough. He doesn't want to fight. Hold on, let me pull up the rankings. Hold on, I have this all pulled up because I knew you would say who. He won't fight Vicente Luque. He won't fight Leon Edwards. And he wants to say he doesn't want to touch Gilbert Burns either. He only wants the easy fights to prop him up to fight Kamaru Usman again. In my opinion, he should never fight Kamaru Usman ever again. Usman proved in that last fight he's the better fighter. He won. Whether you believe it or not, Dustin, Colby hardly hit him, and he was getting tagged. Dude, Usman has a way of dodging punches that is absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. You think he's getting hit, but he's not. He's not. He's brushing him off. He's hitting shoulders. He's hitting. He's not hitting. He doesn't deserve another title fight. If he wants another title fight, he better fight Leon fucking Edwards or Vicente Luque and prove it. Beat one of those guys. Let's go down this fight list. Dustin, let's go. Other than Kamaru Usman, he has beaten Tyron Woodley because Tyron Woodley broke his rib and he was washed. Tyron Woodley was the epitome of a washed fighter. He wasn't as good as he used to be. He beat Robbie Lawler in 2019. So not primetime Robbie Lawler, old ass fuck Robbie Lawler. He beat RDA, who had no business. We already talked about no business being in the 170 division because he's not 170. He had to gain weight to get to that division. And then he beat an old-ass Damian Maia. And before that, Dong Hyun Kim. You haven't fucking beaten anyone. I'm sorry. You just haven't beaten a real fighter in a long time. If you want a title shot, in my opinion, if he wants another shot at Kamaru Usman, he better fucking fight Leon Edwards or Vicente Luque. Until you fight either of those guys, you don't get to touch the belt. You don't even get to fucking look at it.
First of all,
seriously.
I agree with you. I agree with you in your pretense right there. In your pretense right there, I absolutely agree that he needs to fight one of those guys. What I will say about the Usman fight, I'm not salty about him losing. What I'm saying is, this is how I judge fights, just how I look at them. I'm saying that I'm not mad that he lost because, first of all, that was a 3-2 fight. So when a 3-2 fight happens, or when a boxing fight goes to the 12th round and the guy you thought won, loses by a round, you almost have to accept it because that's a close fight, whether you like it or not, whether you like the guy or not. It's close. So anybody could have judged it a different way. So I'm not saying that Colby Covington absolutely beat him. That's not true. Do I think he won the fight? Kind of. Just the way I look at it, I think he kind of got him. But just like I think Izzy lost to Robert Whittaker, it's the same situation. Kind of the same situation. And yes, he lost. But we'll talk about that sometimes later. But anyway, I'm not salty he lost. It was a close fight. You can't be mad. You can't be mad that he lost a close decision. It is what it is. Now, can I be mad at a 49-46? Yes. Whoever the fuck says 49-46 in a fight like that is just
sure.
Stupid.
Sure.
But I'm going to tell you right now, Colby Covington is going to destroy Masvidal, in my opinion. I think he's going to beat the shit out of him. I don't think Jorge Masvidal is going to be able to win this fight at all. And I think he beats everybody in 170, in my opinion, except Usman. I think he is the just...
I don't know, man. Colby versus Leon is a terrible matchup for Colby Covington. Leon Edwards is tall and big, and can keep him away. And Leon has proven over and over again he is fucking tough to get on the ground. And that's even if Colby can get inside. Let's not forget Colby's small. He is a small welterweight. He should. I mean, if he really wanted to. Now, he's not going to step down to that division because it's full of monsters. But but if he really wants to contend again, if he really thinks he's as good as he thinks he is, you should step down and see what he can do. Because that's the only way. You're not going to beat Kamaru Usman. You're not. You're just not.
I don't think he is.
Even at this point, going into a third fight, let's say it happens, right? Because that's what I honestly believe Dana's doing this fight. And then Colby will get another shot after Leon Edwards fights Usman. So let's say that fight happens. Usman versus Covington 3. Let's just say it happens, right? Covington would have to knock him out in order to win that fight. I honestly believe that. At that point, you're going into it knowing Usman's going to win, whether you're a judge or not. And the same thing happened with Izzy Whittaker. You're going into it with the pretense that you think this guy's going to win. Whether the judges want to admit it or not, they do that all the time for great champs. They did it for John Jones. They did it for GSP. They've done it over and over and over again because you just know that they're going to win. So I'm going to score this biasly towards the champ. It happens all the time. I don't really blame them for that aspect other than they should know that going into it. I get it. And I get it. I mean, I blame them. Let me rephrase that. I blame them as judges, but I don't blame them as people because that's a natural psychological thing. This guy beats everybody. So, of course, he's winning the fight. That's what your brain tells you because you're used to seeing him win. So, Covington, get the fuck out of the division, dude. Get out of the division, man. Just get out of the division. You're not gonna beat Usman. You're just not. All right, guys. We got to end it there. We are way over our time. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for watching. Dustin, thank you for joining as always. And happy fight week. We'll see you next time, guys. See ya.